I'm about to show you how I move though. You get the memo. I say,
Hey, keep cooking with that dope, Mike.
I'm like, baby, why you leave me? She said, like, baby, I'ma get a bag and switch it up and watch they say. They don't like my style, they say I'm different, I'm too red. Put my whole up in the song to show you that I care. I'ma call your phone and I'm like, baby, do you care? I will feel the energy that you give me. If you hear my pain, would you still listen to me? Diamonds, they gon' dance and they still glisten on me. She gon' call my phone and I'm like, I don't feel your energy. I'm always gonna think about the thing that you did to me. Every time I...
Yo, it's your boy Smoker Spot T, aka Silkman, aka Middleman. We back with another video. Today we are doing the strength and weaknesses part 2. I'm gonna upload part 3 UDFA right after this. So if you got the time to watch this, go watch this. But it's been your boy Smoker Spot T. Subscribe. We out here. It's been a couple of days since I uploaded. Welcome back.
I know you like that.
How long you been back, man? In my last strength and weaknesses video, I had the offensive lineman core as the strength of this offense. It is the strength of this team because I believe they can be a top 3. But the thing I got wrong was the weaknesses. I had the linebacker core as the weakness. But the recent sign of Nigel Bradham could add more depth, and he's one of a good linebacker. So my weaknesses now is the secondary. This cornerback group has no depth. And the weaknesses are Patrick Robinson and PJ Williams. Patrick Robinson could show when he's healthy he's a good corner, but he doesn't stay on the field. He's very injury prone, only playing a couple games this season. His strength is his solid coverage, and his weaknesses is staying healthy and being inconsistent. Hopefully Patrick Robinson can play this season and be a good corner. Next up we have PJ Williams. Now PJ Williams is on his last leg as a New Orleans Saint. This year, he has to prove that he's worth being on his team. And this is the year to show he has. His strength is his tackling, his weaknesses is his coverage, being inconsistent. He's shown to be a good tackler on his team, but he got 1 interception, 44 tackles. Hopefully he can develop to a good safety or a corner. Next up, I have the defensive line. This defensive line is very talented, and I think it could make a big impact this year. First, we're going to start with Trey Henderson. Trey Henderson was the most dependable defender on the Saints team. He did have intensity, had a high motor, filled up Davenport's spot, but his strength is his high motor, his pursuit, and his weaknesses is staying healthy and consistency. Hopefully Trey Henderson can develop to a high floor pass rusher, but we'll see that in the future. Next up, we have Malcolm Brown. Now Malcolm Brown was a key part of this defensive line, as he did replace Tyler Davison and became one of the top defensive tackles on his team. His strength is a high motor, and he stopped the run pretty well. His weaknesses, he's not the best pass rusher, but he can still get to the quarterback. He did have 2 sacks this season and 34 tackles, but it's good enough. Next up, we have Shy Tuttle. Shy Tuttle was the biggest surprise on his team, as he was a diamond on the rough. He quickly developed as a good defensive tackle on his team, and he's reliable. As his strengths, he is a good run defender, and his weaknesses is his pass rusher. You could see a work on that, but he's going to improve day by day. 2 sacks, 1 interception. Yes, sir. Next up, we have Marcus Hunt. Now, Marcus Hunt can be a steal in his free agency, as his ability to play inside and the outside of the edge. His versatility can be used on his team very well, as his strength is his versatility and his length. But his weaknesses is his consistency, as he did not rack up a sack this season. But he did have 7 tackles. He could be a steal in his free agency. Next up, we have Mario Edwards Jr. As Mario Edwards Jr. is a good backup, but his role in his team cannot be found, as he is in the spot with Marcus Davenport, Cam Jordan, Sheldon Rankins. But his strength, he's a solid pass rusher. He is versatile. His weakness is his hand usage. I don't know if he's going to find himself a role in his team, but he's a good player. Next up, we have this linebacker core. Now, this linebacker core is very talented. And the first person we're going to start off with is Nigel Bradham. Nigel Bradham will make an immediate impact on his team, as I really think he will start on his team. He did get injured with a concussion protocol, but he's still going to make plays. As his strength is his tackling, he is a solid sideline linebacker, and his weaknesses is injuries. He racked up 61 tackles and 1 interception. Nigel Bradham is going to be a problem, trust me. Next up, we have Chase Hansen. Now, Chase Hansen is a very underrated guy on his team, and not a lot of people talk about him. His versatility on his team could make a big difference. His strength is a solid sideline linebacker. He is physical, and he is versatile. His weaknesses, he struggles against bigger linemen, but the ability to play linebacker and safety could help this team a lot. Next up, I have Caden Ellis. My man Scoob is very big on Caden Ellis. I really think Caden Ellis can make immediate impacts in the future. But he got recently put on COVID-19 list, so his strength is his tackling, his versatility, he's hybrid, his weaknesses is injuries. Hopefully Caden Ellis can get back soon and make an impact. Next up, I have Anthony Chickillo. Now, Anthony Chickillo is in a roster battle with Craig Robinson, and he will make this roster. As his strengths, he's versatile, and he's very good on the special teams. But his weaknesses, he needs to improve on his coverage skills, but he can pass rush. Hopefully he can make this roster. Next up, I have Zach Bond, who his ability to able to pass rush and play off the ball can help this team a lot and go far. His strengths is the pass rushing and his football IQ, but his weaknesses, he struggled with bigger linemen during pass rush. He could get swallowed during pass rush moves, but he could improve on that. Next up, we have Craig Robinson, who is a guy I don't think he can have a role in this team next year. With the signing of Anthony Chickillo, he could be going off this roster, but with Caden Ellis getting put on the COVID-19 list, he could get saved. As his strengths is on the special teams, his weaknesses, he's a liability on the pass coverage. He racked up 27 tackles and 1 interception. Now that we're done with the linebacker core, let's get on to the running back core with Dwayne Washington, Latavius Murray, and Ty Montgomery. First, we're going to start with Latavius Murray. Now, Latavius Murray is a guy I think he needs more snaps. He could give us a 900-yard rushing yard season, but Sean Payton refuses to run the ball. His strength is his yards after run. He has good vision, but his weaknesses is outside sweeps, but he needs more snaps to prove that he's a very good running back on his team. Next up, we have Ty Montgomery, which Ty Montgomery can up this offense with his versatility to play wide receiver and the running back position. He could play in the slot this season, but who knows. His strength is his versatility and his speed. His weaknesses is his ball security. Look out for Ty Montgomery. He could be a game changer on the Saints offense. Next up, we have Dwayne Washington. Dwayne Washington is a guy I really like on his team, but it seems like he cannot find a role. He has some special team snaps. He even blocked a punt, but his strengths is his versatility, his yards after run, but his weaknesses is his role. He could find himself a spot on another team, but I don't think it's the Saints. He's very good. Next, we have the tight end position. First, we're going to start off with the new tight end, Tommy Stevens, who just recently switched to tight end after he was a QB. There was no way he's going to make us cross the spot as a QB, but his strengths is his versatility. But his weaknesses, we don't know as a tight end yet, but we're going to see during the season. Next up, I have Josh Hill. Josh Hill, I don't really think he's going to be on his team next year, as his role this year is going to be straight blocking. As his strengths is blocking, but his weaknesses is route running, but I really think it's going to be Josh Hill's last year on the scene. Next up, we have Adam Chapman. Adam Chapman is a physical specimen. He's going to be special. But this year, he's not going to have the biggest role. He is going to be sitting behind Jared Cook, but his strengths is explosiveness, route running, and speed. His weaknesses is technique. He's going to be special. Now we're on to the backup quarterback core. We're first going to start off with the man, the myth, the legend, the man who play every damn position on the damn field, Taysom Hill. That's bars, low key. But anyways, strength is his yards at the catch. He has good arm strength. His weakness is downfield accuracy, but he has injury history, but not in the pros. Next up, we have Jameis Winston, who we recently just signed for $1 million after he just threw off a 5,000-yard season, which I believe this is a steal, as his strength is his arm strengths, and his weakness is his accuracy and his decision-making, which will be fixed in this offense. Next up, we have the wide receiver core, and the first person we're going to start off with is Little Jordan Humphrey. Now, Little Jordan Humphrey is a guy I really like. I really think he can take on a slot role. He has experience at it, but this season he only had blocking snaps. As his strength is blocking, his good length, and his weaknesses is route running. Hopefully he can get slot snaps. Next up, I have Emmanuel Butler, who was a guy that disappointed everybody last year. He didn't even get called up to the roster, but he has potential. His strengths is his size, his speed, but his weaknesses is separation and route running. He's a project. Next up, we have Austin Carr, who wasn't really reliable this season, only having 9 yards and 1 reception, but his strength is his blocking and his weakness is being reliable. I don't see Austin Carr being on this team for long, but it is what it is. Next up, we have Deontay Harris, who recently just got put on the COVID-19 list, but he's going to get used well in his offense when he get back. But his strength is his speed and his returning, but his weakness is his ball security. But Deontay Harris is going to get used in his offense very well. Last but not least, we have the safety position. First, we're going to start off with DJ Swearinger. Now, DJ Swearinger is a guy, when we signed him, I really like the move because he's going to make a big impact, trust me. His strengths, he's a hard hitter, he's a ball hawk, has a high motor, he's a great leader. Sometimes he blows coverages on his weaknesses, but he's a good player. Next up, we have Saquon Hampton, who I believe is a Walmart Marcus Williams, as his strengths is a ball hawk, but his weaknesses is tackling. Hopefully he can get some snaps in later on in the future. Next, we have special team ace JT Gray. JT Gray was all over the special teams, getting 17 total tackles and making second team All-Pro. His strengths is his tackling and his versatility. We don't know his weakness yet, but yeah. Next, we have Justin Hardy, who could not be on this team next year after signing his 1-year deal. But his strengths is his tackling, but his weaknesses is coverage. He blows a lot of coverages, but let's get on to the coaches. Now, first, we're going to start off with Sean Payton. Now, Sean Payton, his strengths is development, good play calling, but his weaknesses, he has some questionable play calling, but he refuses to run. Dennis Allen, strength, run defense, and his development, but questionable play calling. But if I'm wrong, comment down below. But this be your boy Smokers YT, and we out here. Part 2 coming up.
Cut me some diamonds. I'ma just run on them dividends. I got a boss, she be missing it. I love you, ocean, I swim in it. Slaughter your block and we been in it. Whoop out the pie, we whipping it. All of my brothers be whipping it. All of my brothers be whipping it. I'm finna kiss me about, yeah, yeah. You can just stay for the night, yeah, yeah. I buy you something new, yeah, yeah. She got my voice in my tongue, yeah, yeah. Why you be wasting my time?